Hi, my name is Phyllis Campbell, and I am a doctoral student from Texas Tech University, and this is my application experience project. Dr. Valle is my advisor. I'm in the Educational Leadership Program, and my district partner is Karnes City Independent School District. I'm partnering with Karnes City ISD and have received consent for this endeavor from the superintendent, Dr. Jeanette Wynn, in December of 2017. The scope of the work is to design an action research project intervention that's focused on building and developing a shared understanding of instructional teaming practices with grade level teams 2nd through 5th grade on the Roger E. Sides Elementary campus, which is my campus that I work on currently as a building principal, and to work with teachers to build that shared understanding of instructional teaming and develop teachers' content knowledge in reading so that we can all work together in an academic learning community or a PLC or grade level team to focus on increasing student reading achievement. The knowledge base was consulted, and there is quite a bit of support to suggest that teachers are overwhelmed with trainings and meetings, that teachers do not have enough content knowledge and skills to increase student reading, and that needs to be an area to address. Also, that teachers don't really have the skill set to move from social teams to high-functioning PLCs that focus on data and are focused on achievement, especially in reading in this case. I think Mintrop says it best in his design development marries real life challenges, which is exactly where we're starting with this design development idea. I initially began with a high inference problem of practice and looked at the data involving the school district and the Roger E. Sides campus to get a better picture of the campus and the needs of our elementary school. Thinking about this intervention design, after going from the high inference to looking at data to the low inference, there were many areas of strength and a great jumping off point to do this project. And the teachers have so many strengths. There were many areas of strength to be able to start with. And this research was developed collaboratively with KCISD and my superintendent, Dr. Jeanette Wynn. And we worked together to look at the needs and look at the data that provided information on some of the improvement challenges that could be addressed, and the focus of reading scores being below the state average and the economically disadvantaged student population scoring lower than all students. These were some of the areas that the district was focused on also, so it was a good place to begin as far as thinking about an intervention design implementation. After looking at the findings and conclusions, the interventions will be focused on grade level teams of teachers, 2nd through 5th grade, and it will be based on a 10-week schedule. This divine intervention will be focused on developing a shared understanding of instructional teaming and also working with teachers to improve their content knowledge in reading so that they can work together in an academic learning community or PLC or grade level team to focus on increased student reading achievement. Good afternoon, Dr. Wynn. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and present my doctoral proposal. And I know you're busy, and so I really do appreciate you spending a little time with me going through my project. So
Being a new principal in district, through my class, we have been working on a research proposal, and so I wanted to share that with you and get some feedback from you about my ideas and the data and everything that I've collected. So at the beginning of this process, which it really is been really eye-opening, and I've learned a lot through this process. So initially, I made a high inference problem of practice based on some conversations with staff and being new, just kind of surveying, interviewing some teachers just informally. And so, high inference problem of practice. What I kind of initially thought was that teachers needed to understand how to utilize digital tools. I thought really my project was headed in the area of digital literacy because we didn't really use, I could tell through meetings that we didn't really use the online piece well. We didn't use data, and so I thought that's where we were headed. And teachers didn't really see the relevance in professional learning communities or grade level teams. They didn't really actively participate in meetings for fear of not providing a correct response. They didn't have the digital learning skills really to mine the data. So that's kind of the direction that I was headed. And then staff, using instructional interventions with students, they were doing that, but they didn't really know how to print the reports, use iStation, use Think Through Math as an instructional tool. So I came up with a high inference problem of practice, which if I and other campus personnel work to establish a shared understanding of the digital learning and how to use those tools, then hopefully that teachers would be able to work more collaboratively together to address the instructional needs of students, and they would be able to address that question of what students do when they're not learning. So that was the beginning. So then, once I did the high inference, then I started collecting some data. I looked at the TAPER report. I looked at our district improvement plan, the campus improvement plan. I did inadvertently do a survey when I first came of 3 questions, and it ended up being really helpful as another form of data for this project. But also all these 1 through 13, these are all the different data streams that I collected and tried to look at. So that was what kind of helped me go from high inference to narrow the scope a little bit. So after looking at the data, of course there's so many strengths because we have a great district and a great campus. And so the areas of strength that I came through after looking at all the information was that teachers do work in teams. They work in teams weekly to plan, and they have really great positive working relationships with each other. And they do have growth mindsets. Very exciting to me to get to work with teachers like this, but especially in collecting this data. They're interested in individual professional development, and through T-tests, I got to see that also, goal setting. Teachers are taking steps to work towards small group instruction to address the individual needs of kids, and that they're also willing to learn, and they would like to work as a team to improve student performance. So I think that's really exciting. I got that from the information and continuing to work with teachers collecting more information. So, of course, there's a few challenges that came to light through this data collection. Reading scores are below the state average, and that our ECO-DIS, of course, student population scored a little lower than the other all students, and that writing scores are a little bit lower, and I think we see that across the state, so it's not just here. Increased usage of online resources and digital learning for staff was another issue that I kind of found as I gleaned the information. And then grade level teaming and PLC structure, they just really didn't understand the process. So those were some of the challenges that I found through looking at the data. So the conclusions is that they're willing and they're interested, but they don't really understand the practice and the process of PLCs or grade level teaming for instructional outcomes. They have expressed interest in building a data-driven professional learning community, which is really exciting and positive. They really, the knowledge and tools to team effectively, and of course building trust, and between the trust between the team participants, but also between the team and the leader, are all areas that would move teachers to supporting them to help student improvement. So the conclusions from that, of course, teachers need ongoing professional development and assistance. They need some support, and they need to understand how to build a data-driven professional learning community. And they also need to understand how and why we collaborate with each other, and how to build respect and trust this process of those questions of what do we do when kids aren't learning. And then teachers need the knowledge and tools and the processes to team effectively and are unsure of the next.
Thinking about interventions from the change drivers to the activities, that we will be, of course, having a 10-week program. We will meet together to introduce grade level teaming, or PLCs, and we will consult the knowledge base together as grade level teams. We'll be reading some literature and reflecting. We will be setting norms of how we do our work, and of course using data to determine our focus as a group, and having informal ongoing conversations throughout this 10-week period about the intervention, the strategies, just touching base with each one of the team members ongoing. We will be having workshops on inquiry and setting team goals based on our data. We will also identify strategies and practices to address those learning goals. We're going to do some protocols on giving and receiving feedback to build that shared understanding and that risk taking, and that shared language. Also, we'll be creating interventions for our strategies, and then of course implementing those in the classroom. And then after that, we will debrief and discuss our next steps. We're going to always analyze based on data and the impact it has on our students. We will celebrate our successes and take time to reflect and share with our campus, because we want to grow ourselves, but also share that new learning with the rest of the campus. And we will start that process over again, hopefully. And we want teachers to invest in that ongoing reflection and new pedagogy and implementation of new practices designed by the team. And we hope that that will transfer to reading achievement. So we will have impact and process data to look at also. But this is the basic plan and outline for my intervention design. And we're going to be moving from ideas to activities and engaging in evidence-based inquiry to test our assumptions about change and to verify our theory of action as a team. So thank you for listening to my presentation.